Okay, so let's just dive right into this. You've got the defending champions, they're co-hosting the T20 World Cup, and somehow they're on the absolute brink of getting knocked out. How did it even come to this? And more importantly, is there any way back? Well, we're going to break it all down.
I mean, coming into the Super 8 stage, India looked completely unstoppable, right? They were undefeated, playing on their own home turf, and, carrying that heavy title of defending champs. Everything, and I mean everything, seemed to be going perfectly to plan.
And then this happened, a truly catastrophic opening match against South Africa. They're chasing 187, and they just get completely dismantled, all out for a measly 111. Look, this wasn't just a loss. It was an absolute thrashing, a 76-run defeat that sent some serious shockwaves through the entire tournament. But here's the real kicker. That crushing defeat, it wasn't just about losing 2 points. No, it absolutely destroyed their net run rate. It just plummeted all the way down to this disastrous minus 3.800. And believe me, that single number right there, it could very well be the nail in the coffin.
So this all leads us to the one crucial question. With their backs firmly against the wall, with this numerical mountain to climb, is there any path left for India to make it to the semifinals and actually defend their title? Well, the answer is yes, but wow, is it an incredibly narrow one.
So to really understand how narrow that path is, we've got to look at the cold, hard facts. Let's start with where things stand right now in their group.
All right, just take a look at this table. You've got West Indies and South Africa sitting pretty right at the top, both with 4 points, both with fantastic net run rates. And then, way down there in third place, you've got India, 0 points, and that absolutely terrible NRR we talked about. The gap is just huge, and there are only 2 games left to try and close it.
Okay, so what exactly is this net run rate, or NRR, that we keep talking about? The easiest way to think about it is like cricket's version of goal difference in football. It's all about how fast you score compared to how fast your opponents score against you. And the key takeaway is super simple. A big positive number is fantastic. A big negative number, like the one India has right now, that is a massive, massive problem if things end in a tie.
All right, so given all that, what exactly does India have to do? What does this steep path to victory actually look like on the ground?
Well, it comes down to 3 things, and every single one of them is non-negotiable. Step 1, they have to beat Zimbabwe. Step 2, they absolutely positively have to beat the West Indies. And step 3, and this is the really vital part, they can't just win. They can't just scrape by. They have to win big to have any chance of repairing that horrible NRR.
And this slide really shows you what we mean. A narrow win, something that goes down to the last over, that barely moves the needle on their NRR. It's almost useless at this point. But a totally dominant win, like, say, chasing down a target in just 12 overs or winning by 70-plus runs, that gives them the huge boost they desperately need to even stay in the conversation.
Okay, so with all of that in mind, India's future in this whole tournament really just boils down to 3 possible scenarios. Let's walk through each one.
All right, first up, we've got the simple path. Honestly, this is India's dream scenario. Here's how it works. South Africa wins all their games, they finish on top with 6 points. Simple. Then, India wins both of their games, they finish with 4 points, and they qualify in second place. No fuss. In this case, that horrible NRR we've been talking about, it becomes completely irrelevant. They don't even have to worry about it.
But then there's scenario 2. And this is where things get really, really tricky. We're calling it the NRR tiebreaker. Just imagine, India does their job. They win both games. They get to 4 points. But the West Indies also end up on 4 points. Now what? Well, qualification comes down to a direct battle of net run rate. And as we all know by now, India is starting that battle from a huge disadvantage.
And finally, you have the nightmare scenario. Game over. It's as brutally simple as it sounds. If India loses either of their next 2 matches, to Zimbabwe or to the West Indies, that's it. They're out. No second chances. Even a rained-out match would almost certainly knock them out. The margin for error is literally 0.
So now that we know the different pathways, what are the actual odds here? Let's take a fair, balanced look at the things working for India and the things working against them. So what's going for them? Well, on the plus side, their next 2 opponents, Zimbabwe and West Indies, are, on paper at least, weaker than South Africa. You've got Jasprit Bumrah, who is just bowling out of his mind right now. Their next games are on pitches in Chennai and Kolkata that should really favor their spinners. And look, this is a team that knows how to handle pressure.
And that last point is huge. If South Africa keeps winning, it just simplifies the math for India so much. But the arguments against them are pretty powerful too. That net run rate of -3.800, it's like a lead weight tied around their ankle. The West Indies have this massive NRR advantage, a huge buffer. And like we keep saying, there's absolutely no room for a single mistake, all while they're under this immense pressure of being the tournament's co-hosts.
All right, so let's bring this all together. The final verdict. When you weigh all the variables, you crunch all the numbers, what are the realistic chances? What's the bottom line?
Well, as this chart shows you, it is incredibly tight. We are basically looking at a coin flip, but with the odds just slightly against them. A 45% chance to qualify means it is absolutely possible, for sure. But that 55% chance of elimination just goes to show you how precarious, how dangerous the situation really is for them.
And really, that just leaves us with this one final thought. The talent is there. The opportunity, believe it or not, is still there. But the path forward is just so treacherous. India's title defense, it is still alive. But make no mistake, it is hanging by a single thread. Every single run from here on out is going to count.